Hello, everyone. This is Diamond Princess. Welcome
Hello,
to
everyone.
my live stream. Hopefully, everybody is doing well today. I am going to wait on my guest to arrive. Hi, Brila. I'm going to wait for my guest to arrive and we'll get started. Okay, well, my guests are probably on their way. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So, the election is coming up pretty soon, and I hope that you guys are going out to vote for the elections. Either you guys already voted or you guys are going to vote on a third. Either way, it all depends on you what you want to do because I already heard that certain propositions already passed, like, well, for my state, Proposition 22, um, Uber and Lyft drivers are going to be employed, so they won't be independent contractors anymore. So that's one of the propositions I heard that already passed. There was another one that passed as well, but I'll get to that. I'll have to find out information about that one. But the elections is coming up, and I hope you guys saw the the debate between Biden and Trump. So I saw the debate this so I saw the debate yesterday, and I was listening between Biden and Trump when they were asked certain questions. So from what I have listened to and what questions they have answered, it seems like Trump is just not taking the election seriously. It just seems like he's just, wanting to be elected. Because when he comes down to certain questions, just like COVID-19 patients dying and black people dying from the police, it's like he's not giving a straight answer. He's just rambling or just giving excuses. And he haven't even given an answer when a vaccine was going to come out for the COVID-19 test. This dude is really has not been taking the elections seriously ever since the campaign for being elected president has started. and he caught COVID-19, and you would think that he would take this more seriously, but he has not, and it's he just been really lousy as a president. And not only that, Joe Biden, he gave a couple answers of, like COVID-19 testing and people dying, but he hasn't really given answers either on when a vaccine is going to happen. Wow, I remember he saying it when would be December then. Yeah, I can't take President Trump seriously. It just seems like I could take Biden more seriously than Trump, but Biden, he cannot be trusted either that much because back in the 90s, he was part of the crime bill that incarcerated a lot of innocent blacks. So it's so he can't be really trusted either. You gotta keep an eye on both of them. And this is why, as black people, we need to take ourselves seriously because our lives depend on it. If we want to see results in our communities, if we want to see results happen, we need to get our own candidate in our own community to represent us. But if we sitting there and we're allowing somebody else to represent us and they have not talked about getting a vaccine or anything, then they cannot be trusted. They're not going to do anything. So we got to keep an eye out on for people that we can't that who can we trust? To be honest with you, who can you trust? Hey, brother, Barkry, excuse me if I butchered your name. Hi there, peace to you too. So, without further ado, I want to welcome to the panel Omega Courtney. Hello, Courtney.
Hello, greetings. I am so sorry I'm late. My laptop is going so slow. I said, let me come in through my phone just so I can get in here because I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you again so much, Diamond Princess. Always opening up your panel to have just quality discussions, discussions where we not just look at bashing the left or the right, but look internally and elevating conversation. Peace to the room. I heard you mention hello to Brother Bakari. Hello, peace to you. Thank you so much for joining us in here today because there's a lot to unpack. And like you said, sis, we have really got to start to realize that vetting these candidates are just as important as vetting what doctor you're going to go see. It's just as important as deciding what schools you're going to go to. You're talking about
Amen to
being a
that.
part of change, being a part of a discussion, and being a part of activity that definitely dictates and projects the area or in the capacity that your life is heading into. And we've got to stop taking these things lightly. We've got to stop looking at, what celebrity is endorsing who, and we really have got to start looking into policies. Policies create they literally are the oil to the wheels of the machines of change. It is policy, you all, not necessarily people. So that's why you can't just go into it thinking that you're going to kill the messenger. It is the policies. Policies change lives. I've seen it happen. I know it happens. I was an elected official. I saw it happen. I see how policies change where your kids can go to school. I see how policies change how much you earn for that job you work. I've seen policies dictate if they're going to build a dog park where, instead of a pool. These are things that are all dictated by policies. Policies create politics, and politics create change. That's just what it is. So I always give a side eye to people that say they're not into politics. You may not be into politics, but politics are surely into you. They are. So
Amen.
I'm definitely looking forward to this discussion.
Amen to that. And also do your research, because when I was voting on my ballot, before I even, bubble in the answers that I want to bubble in, I did my research on the measures and the propositions that I want to pass. Just like, say, Proposition 16. Proposition 16 in California states that they want to bring back affirmative action to the state, because a lot of people of color were being discriminated against just because of the way they look. And Measure 15 is a tax raise, or tax properties, or taxing corporations, but on the other hand, they're going to tax small businesses as well, which could cause small businesses to go out of business. So it's always good to look up propositions and measurements in your county and in your state, because whether you guys like it or not, it affects you greatly, whether you guys realize it or not. And that's why it's so important to vote. Vote for that candidate. Vote for that measurement that you would like to pass or would not want to pass. And moreover, Courtney, I don't know if you heard of this, but there's 93% of African Americans do not want to get vaccinated, is because of the Tuskegee experiment that happened.
Yeah, Tuskegee medical experiment. Yeah, the airmen.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of Black people are very skeptical when it comes to these vaccines, because you don't know what's in it. They don't tell you. They only tell you that it is safe and that and it's harmless, but you really don't know what's in these vaccines that can cause you harm or can give you autism and other things that can affect you and your children. So what do you think on that?
Well, I think that absolutely people are right on to not want to participate in those type of. Black people have systemically and systematically, okay, two different words, let's get it in there, have been the guinea pigs of treatments, and we would also like to mention that Bill Gates was ahead of testing using Africans to test out the COVID vaccine years before there was a COVID. Someone explained that to me. So we really need to start thinking about how all of these things are really coming to fruition at this point. I am a big believer in studying past in order to predict future. Big believer in it. My parents were both social workers, but my father was a history teacher before he became a social worker. And we often talked about studying the movements of dynasties, of legacies, of movements. So from the civil rights movement to eras in our history, the Victorian age era, times certain even in our own U.S. history, we have to realize that everything comes back down to money. We are a society that's based on capitalistic advances. So I would challenge everyone, or encourage, not challenge. I would encourage everyone to check out a book called Medical Apartheid. Everyone, I read this book years ago, almost a decade ago, literally when I first moved back to Miami, when I first moved down to Miami, when I first moved back from originally living in Georgia. I don't plan on going back this time, you all. I am very happy being back in the bosom in Georgia. I'm very happy. But at any rate, when I moved back before, I was a part of a group called 40 Acres and a Mule. It was pioneered and led by Brother Jesse Washington, located in the area of South Miami, or the southern point of Miami, known as Perrine, or Pirine for everyone from Miami. Peace out to the chat, anyone that's getting this from that area, or listening to this or watching this or viewing this from that area. And we would go over a book a month. It was a collection of Black, and we were varied in ages. I was the youngest member, but we were varied in ages, varied in professions, but we would go over a book a month. And we read Medical Apartheid. And if anyone has heard of it, please throw it up in the chat. If not, I'll definitely make sure that I jump out and jump down in the chat so I can throw it up in there. But this is the first time that I was introduced to Henrietta Lacks. And if anyone knows a little bit of history with Henrietta Lacks, you know that she is the nucleus of cancer, of research when it comes to Johns Hopkins Hospital. Yes, the Johns Hopkins Hospital. And to this date, her family has still never been compensated for the cells that literally were stolen from her body, that she was kept alive just to harvest. Her cells healed themselves. And so her cells were used for numerous studies, polio vaccines, cancer research, certain disorders regarding, things that are only prevalent to African American people, including sickle cell, okay, and as well as and also lupus. So her body was harvested for these cells, and her family has never been compensated for it. And at the same time, when she was going through this in her life, living in her life, and not understanding why there still had to be test after test if nothing was wrong with her. Now you're talking about, this was a person whose cells could heal themselves, and she died before she was 40. Think about the impact of that. So this lets us know that she meant more in her death than she did in her life. Why? Why is that? And that's because of the fact that she, as long as she was dead, she couldn't continue to, first of all, resist their harassment with coming in for more testing, with allowing more things to be taken from her body, but also because they didn't have to pay her. They knew once she was dead, they could still take the cells. And then at that point, it was just going to be a cakewalk pretty much, because the family was going to be divided over the money or the lack thereof. And it was just going to be a waiting game. And this happens routinely in our communities. It happens routinely in our communities when we're talking about gentrification, when we're talking about redevelopment. It happens routinely because the people that have the money can wait out the ones that don't. Either you're going to die or you're going to have to move and keep going and just forget about the fact that there's going to be a payout. And so when we talk about politics, when we talk about elected officials, when we talk about government, we too often, and when I say we, I am talking to us, I'm talking to melanated people, I'm talking to African American of the diaspora of our communities, our cultures, our foundationally Black people. Okay, I'm talking to all of us. We consistently separate this issue until it becomes voting time. But let me tell you this, if votes matter on November 3rd, guess what? They matter on October 1st. They matter on December 25th. They matter on July 4th. Hello, they matter on April 20th. Just whatever day of the week, whatever week of the month it is, they matter. So we have got to stop putting all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak, and thinking that changing who is president is going to change how our day-to-day life works, when half of the time we cannot even name one person on our local school board. We can't even name who our local officials are, whether they are mayor, governors, city council members, or what have you. We can't name them. But we think that because we know what the response is going to be from a president coming up in the upcoming election, we think that that is going to make all the difference in the world in our day-to-day lives. Let's not kid ourselves. This is time to be very aware. It is time to be not only aware of the knowledge, but doing something with it. How are we using the information that we are learning? This is the information age. So in the information age, why are less and less books being bought? Why are we making such ill-informed choices when it comes to our representation? Why are local libraries closing? And this is the information age. Let's get real, let's get accountable, let's get serious, and let's get progressive.
You have to excuse me, my niece is acting up. Just one quick question. Did you see the presidential debate yesterday?
I sure did. And let me tell you, Donald Trump didn't come to play with Joe yesterday. He did not. Donald Trump handled Joe. And, I tell you, I'm a master debater. I always have to tell people to get that word right. I'm a master debater. I was able to win my seat as a councilwoman in Miami, Florida, because you couldn't handle me when it came to that. When they couldn't handle me on the podium. And the way Donald Trump, let me tell you, his advisors got paid every cent they were worth yesterday, because the way he was able to not only deflect, but also dissect and also deride Joe Biden and his I'm not racist, and I'm focused on the way he was able to really circumvent.
Courtney, give me a sec. Louis, yes. Connect to your mic. And then come Louis. Back in. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen you in a minute, Louis. Hey. So the way he handled that debate yesterday was not the same Donald Trump that was handled by Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. I think everybody should know that. Oh, he had something for Joe. He had something for Creepy Joe yesterday. I would just say that.
But the problem, he still can't connect to the live stream. What is going on, Louis? It says you need to connect to your mic and cam. So try it again. Go back out and try again. So from what I am seeing from what President Trump was saying when he was asked about, is there going to be a vaccine in place? What do you like? He did not give a straight answer when there's a vaccine going to be in place. So,
well, because I think that the straight answer is that Diamond Princess, he ain't taking no vaccine. I think that's where that deflection came from. And like I said, the way he handled that debate yesterday was absolutely masterful. This man told y'all that he prepaid taxes. I want to know who in history has prepaid taxes. This man told y'all he paid a $750 filing fee. I would love to have paid only a $750 filing fee. I tell you, I had to pay back every bit of $8,000 when I was overpaid 1 year. Every bit. And basically he was telling you without telling you he's not taking a vaccine. That's for y'all. That's for us. He ain't taking no vaccine. That's what I think that was about. That's my humble opinion. Yeah. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's probably why they want to try to kill us off with those vaccines, or make us have retardation problems and whatnot. Hold on, let me contact Louis real quick. Just go ahead and
sure. Yes, but we have all the right, we have all the reasons to be suspicious. Listen, any vaccine that has been rolled out has not been for our benefit, it's been for our detriment. Okay? We have shown that we have certain susceptible genes to things that are unnatural because we are a natural people. We are very natural people. We are very plant-based diet people. You know, we I think that once we start to really understand, appreciate, and recognize our culture, recognize our roots, so to speak, we will be unstoppable. And I would like to just take this moment also to talk about what is going on with our brethren and sisterin in Nigeria in regards to the SARS. You know, so the same police brutality that we are facing here in America, this particular segment of their law enforcement government they're killing their citizens. The same way it's happening here, you all, we are connected. And so if we're connected by these tragedies, then absolutely, we are also connected by these triumphs. We're connected by culture, by roots, and we need to start to understand that. And we can't sit by and watch for our people to be slaughtered. And this is what's happening. So if they're not getting us with the physical, if they're not getting us by pumping in the horrific, numbing and just degrading music to us, and putting people like Cardi B out in front of us to be listening to, sitting Cardi B down with heads of state to discuss matters and affairs. If that's not happening, then you know what? They can catch us in the street. They can catch us legally. They can catch us legally, illegally, financially. But this has got to stop. But it has really got to start with us rising up. And I even made a declaration today that I am no longer going to call this time of the year fall. I'm going to call it rise. Okay. So y'all, please join me. We're going to rise. We are going to rise all this month. We are going to make this an awesome October. Okay. We are going to make it a notorious November. Okay. We've got to stop playing nice here. As you know, my brethren would say from MX Media Group, from Brother Bakari's channel, you know, Brother William, if you know, we got to stop singing and start swinging, you know. So that may not necessarily always mean, and you know, you all, please don't get me wrong, that may not always mean, okay, I'm going to come out with these fists and guns blazing. But this comes out with using our mind. Our mind is a lethal weapon. You know, Malcolm Ben told us that. And y'all know, if I am nothing else, I am a student of the Honorable Malcolm Malik El Hajj Shabazz. I'm a student and a believer. I'm a student and a believer. It's time, it's really time, it's high time for us to stop taking this back seat when it comes to it. And I'm sorry, you guys, I am not in, excuse me, if anybody is making any comments, I am not on YouTube. I'm just on StreamYard, so I can't see your comments. I'm not ignoring anyone, but I definitely want us to really start to engage with people beyond the boards, or as I like to call them, BTB, beyond the boards. We need to start engaging with each other, because we've got to get that back to us. We've got to get it back. And that's something that, you know, I personally have been focusing on this year, 2021, because remember, 2020 they said it was about, you know, having clear vision, right? And so if we can't really see ahead see ahead in front of us without really understanding what happened behind us, right? And so that's why, you know, I came back to Georgia. That's why I really dedicated this year with getting back into my original passion, which has been writing. Getting back into making sure that I was becoming my fittest, my best body ever, health-wise as well, getting back my finances together. So this has been a real commitment, but we've got to start committing to doing that. And we really cannot do it without assessing where we are right now. Tell me how many times you go to the doctor and they don't look at your history. Tell me how odd you would feel if they don't look at your history, but they just tell you, they come and they look at you and say, oh, you need this. Tell me how many of you would take that medication? How many of you would accept that diagnosis? No, you want to see them looking at some charts, right? You want to see them looking at some history, right? And y'all know how we are when we go to a new doctor. We need to make sure that they have all the information that the last doctor had, because you know what? You're new, you're brand new. You have not seen me before. And so this is why I said, we really have got to be just as advantageous. We have got to be just as committed and just as focused on what that looks like for our quality of life improvement. Because Princess is absolutely right. Diamond Princess is absolutely right. Our life depends on it. The quality of your life depends on it. Where your kids are going to go to school depends on it. Whether you're going to get a salary job or you're just going to get an hourly job. And guess what? That hourly job is by most state laws going to pay you 15 to 30% less than a salary job. 15 to 30% less. So that they can what? They can get more taxes. More taxes on individual jobs than they are on salary jobs. Salary jobs are less of. So hourly jobs more of. And they can declare their taxes. But of course, gotta stay within a certain range. This is why most people that you see fighting a certain increase in the minimum wage don't want it to be above a certain wage, because that way they're getting paid twice off of one job that pays you $10, that pays you $8, that pays you $7. They're getting paid twice off of it. They're getting paid to create the job, and then they're getting paid once the job is created. Once the job is created, they're getting paid they're getting tax deductibles for every position that is worked. So, we've got to get smart with it. We got to get better with understanding that. I tell you all a little story with me. Years ago, my grandmother, rest in heaven, Nanny Dickey, former mayor of Daytona Beach, Florida. When she transitioned, she left an inheritance. And though it was a pretty good sum, of inheritance, I didn't invest it. Within 2 years, that inheritance was gone. Within 2 years, that inheritance was gone. It's not something I'm proud of, but I tell you, without that experience, I wouldn't have appreciated how important and how valuable it was when someone presented me with the opportunity to become an insurance broker. And I was able to understand what a fiduciary meant. I was able to understand for the first time in my life what having someone to be an heir to an estate was. I was able to understand for the first time in my life what it meant with when to get whole life as opposed to get something that was term. These were all things that I'd heard. I'd worked really good jobs and I had heard these terms thrown around, but I had not understood nor appreciated the depth of what that meant. And had I not had that opportunity and had come into so much of a considerable amount of money, I honestly wouldn't have cared what that meant. I wouldn't have cared what that meant. So we've really got to sometimes be more aware of information and how it can be used, whether we appreciate it or not. Because that's where we are right now. The information may not be for us, it's for the next. So my children can understand it better. When I go on, they can understand it better. Don't sell property. Do whatever you need to do. Rent it out. Have you rotate it out between you and your siblings, but do not sell property. Do not sell property, because you don't get any more of it. Nobody's making more land in these days and times. This is why it's so valuable. But I would love to tune in for a bit and see what the questions are from the panel. I'm trying to open up a separate window, but like literally it's just freezing on this one window. But this has been such an interesting year, to say the least. But this campaign has been incredibly, incredibly crucial because of the fact that all types of just malarkey and foolishness has been drawn out here. I mean, for the Democratic Party to think, to insult intelligence to the point where they have strippers making commercials. Get your booty to the polls. This is a real thing, guys. As you know, my brother in power put it so eloquently. How much more hot sauce and strippers do you all need? And it got me to thinking. I said, you know what? I don't take anything for granted nowadays. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. Sometimes it just seems I may be overthinking something. But it made me think about how important are strippers and hot sauce to the economy, that the Democratic Party would wage their entire campaign on Cardi B and a stripper commercial and leaking out a picture of Kamala shaking on hot sauce on some greens. Y'all, somebody talk to me. If my glowers are in the room, throw up one, please. Because even though I can't see it right now because I'm not in the YouTube stream, I can feel it. I can feel when the glower goes up. Just somebody throw me up a glower, please. Because, it got me to thinking, well, how quintessential are hot sauce and strippers to the African American culture? Is that really where we've come? Is that really where we're at? So, I love hot sauce. Anybody that knows me knows this. I have a very good friend. She's in law school right now, going to be the best lawyer there ever was. Very, very proud of her. My friend Tanya gets no better. Tanya is, she could be confused for a Karen, but oh no, she's not. She's not a Karen, but she's a beautiful, beautiful Caucasian friend. And we actually bonded over a bottle of hot sauce. We went out to a restaurant and I was enjoying myself, but I said, you know what? I really don't have what I need for this salad. I said, I should have brought my hot sauce. And she said, I've got mine. And she pulled out a wine bottle container of Tabasco hot sauce. So we laughed about it that night, and we still laugh about it. This was years ago. But I did start doing some research about hot sauce. And this was years ago. This is before the hot sauce and stripper plan got rolled out by the Democratic Party. So hot sauce is only manufactured in a couple of places in the United States. Now, the Democratic Party, and if, everyone is so in love with hot sauce like we say they are, then why isn't hot sauce manufactured all over the United States? Goes back to the businesses. It goes back to who is being paid. There are only a certain amount of trees that are grown and where they are grown that contribute to the main ingredient in the top 3 manufacturers of hot sauce. And so, of course, those 3 top manufacturers are Tabasco, Crystal, and Louisiana. So, okay. So I got you there. I appreciate what the Democratic Party has enabled for people to start thinking about hot sauce manufacturing and where that comes from. Now, with the stripper situation, it gets a little bit more complex. Now, you have some places where strippers are making, pretty decent sums of money on a daily, if not weekly basis, because as we know, most strip clubs, to comply with licensing, most strip clubs have to have access to some nights it can't just be stripping all night. And also it can't be full nudity. This may come to a surprise to a lot of people. So if you're fully nude and dancing, that's a different category than if you are a dancer. Okay. And saying that you're a stripper and a dancer, those are 2 different types of licenses, cost 2 different amounts. Okay, same thing with serving alcohol. It's different between saying that you're serving alcohol and you're a club, as opposed to you're a late night restaurant. I've seen all types of things be circumvented in the Miami late night scene, let me tell you. So the stripper situation is a little bit more complex. You really want to know, well, what are we going to bat for here? We're not going to bat for the 30% of African Americans that are in this profession, which is actually law enforcement. Oh, no. No, the Democrats want you to focus more so on, you know what? Let's talk about the stripping culture, the culture that is a part of the progression and the promotion and the deriding of our, our youth. Is the promotion and for the progression and the exploitation of female bodies. Okay. That's what we want to focus more so on. 30% of law enforcement nationwide are African Americans. But what do we want to do with them? No, we want to get behind legislation that actually cuts their funding. Or let's just talk about we reappropriate their funding. But let's talk about what happens when that funding is reappropriated or when that funding goes elsewhere. What happens when you have your uncles, your brothers, your cousins, your sons out there without gear that is used to protect them? What does that make them become in the same communities that they are there to serve? It makes them walking targets. So let's talk about that. But these are complex conversations that we don't want to talk about. No, but what we want to do is talk about WAP. What we want to do is talk about who's invited to the barbecue. What we want to do is talk about, getting things back to where it should be, with me being able to make these claims over here and still live this lifestyle over here. Now, Ben Carson said something that, didn't go over well with a lot of people. Went over well just fine with me, because I have learned not to kill messengers because of the messaging. And I can appreciate the message coming from this man who, prior to him becoming a person in Donald Trump's cabinet, was respected and regarded as one of the most profound and well-trained doctors, surgeons, gifted hands. But the moment he becomes a part of Donald Trump's cabinet, he's crazy and he's not to be trusted. Okay. All right. So, but what he said was that the problem in our communities is not lack of resources. It's not lack of education. It's not even the lack of the lack of the ability to receive these things. The number one problem in our communities is broken homes. It's homes that create a generation of poverty and create a vicious cycle as opposed to generational wealth. It's homes that have to rely on older siblings taking care of younger siblings, of grandparents taking care of grandchildren, instead of being able to rely on two parents bringing in two incomes or more into one house, being able to put it into one house. This is the number one problem with our communities. So when we look at that, we have got to start looking at ourselves more in depth. We've got to start looking at, why didn't that last relationship work? Why couldn't I figure it out with my child's father or my child's mother? Do I have enough of my own resources to go out and acquire another relationship? Do I have enough to be able to maintain, sustain, and progress another family before I create one? These questions, they really aren't rocket science, but they do require a lot more internal assessment than they do require verbal opposition and projection. We've got to start looking inward. And if we really want to fix, want to heal, want to rebuild, want to redevelop our communities, it's got to start with us. It's got to start with us. Now, I'm not saying we can't hold anybody accountable that is definitely doing and conducting criminal activity, frauding, the things that have happened to African Americans in regards to creating some of our own infrastructures have been downright deplorable. And I'm not thinking of taking my foot off the necks of anybody that has done that. Of anybody, of any system that has done that, that system needs to be broken apart and needs to fall too. But in this time, in this day, in this age, we've got to be, as Malcolm said, we've got to be committed to bringing about that change by any means necessary. And when we say by any means necessary, it just can't always be on the running outward and saying, hey, we need to start attacking. What we need to start doing is looking inward. What we need to start doing is looking inward, because I promise a lot of us haven't even begun to do the work, as Iyanla would say, to do that. It's so much easier to better our community when we better our individual home. I mean, that just goes without saying. That goes without saying. It's like the saying that, if you sweep up your own doorstep, you'd be surprised of, how other people respect to it.
Courtney, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
yes.
Lewis is having a hard time getting in. He said that Google might have banned him from, entering like chats and stuff, because he had the same problem on his channel.
My browser is blocked.
That's his browser is blocked.
Hey, Lewis, can you try on your phone? Because, my internet was going slow, so I couldn't come in through my internet on my laptop. So I'm on through my phone.
Lewis, can you hear?
Kind of. Wait, what'd she say?
Can you try it through your phone instead of your laptop, or your laptop through your phone, or maybe?
I am through my phone, but like even in the live chat on another video, it wouldn't even let me click, like the links in the video. Then the moderators put down links to sites. I can't even click those.
Wow. Well, I'm wondering, do you think you can make another account, or is it linked to your IP address?
It's probably linked.
It's linked to your IP address too?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
All these companies, they need to be sued.
Isn't there supposed to be like a law that shouldn't have been passed that stop YouTube, Google, Facebook from interfering with people?
Yeah,
or else they can get sued.
They're thinking their noses into things that don't even, it's not even warranted. They're out of control. They need to go homeless.
But okay, Lewis, since you can't do it, we can do this over the phone, just to save time.
Okay, I'm just gonna talk for a couple minutes because I just got a text as well too. Someone wants help. But I want to put my 2 cents into this whole election thing real fast, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead. Let me turn on my volume so you can hear.
So I've been watching a couple people and whatnot on this whole thing, and they bring up some good points. And then here's my thing: I'm not really I don't really like either candidate. If you actually think about it, Joe Biden's been a politician for how long? 40 plus years. Plus
47.
Okay, yeah, 47 years. And what has that dude done? For that many years, and if you look at his comments, his super predator comments, etc., etc. Here's the thing: I'm not saying he probably didn't change. What I'm saying is he didn't do anything. I ask people, what has he seriously done? Yeah, okay. I don't like either. Trump's not that great either. To me, they're both. I'm not a big, I just think that they're both basically playing the people. It is what it is in the end, but it's like I look at especially I really don't like Joe Biden because of what he did to the melanated community.
Speaking of the melanated community, I don't know if you heard, Lewis. Me and Courtney was just talking about this. We had a conversation because I just found out through the news that 93% of African Americans are refusing to take the COVID vaccine. What is your thoughts on that? You think
Here's
that
my
do you think that we're making a mistake or we're making the right choice?
here's my issue with this whole thing, right? First of all, they can't even tell us exactly where this virus came from. I mean, like the exact location, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing: if we logically think about this, right? So if they can't give us an exact time where this virus came from, and if they say it can easily be mistaken for the flu, this thing could have been around, by the time they got a hold of this thing, the CDC and whatnot, by the time they got a hold of this, this thing, say, oh, it's COVID, we could have already had it. It could have been around years along. And here's my issue. I don't agree with the locking down the way they're doing it, okay? Because how they're locking things down is they're not putting any net fault. You know what I mean? To catch people. So you're going to lock down everything. People's businesses are going to go under, and people are going to go homeless, you know what I mean, on a mass scale, but you're not going to, because your greedy asses, aka politicians, aren't going to forgive debts or anything.
Oh, yeah, they
How are
ain't.
you going to just throw people out into the lion's den like that? And then if millions of people are homeless, not only are they going to be dealing with COVID, on the street, they're also not going to have adequate health protection.
Trump was thinking about getting rid of the health care anyways for low income people that can't even afford it. For example, like people trying to get to the hospital and they come out with a big ass bill. Like,
doesn't also Biden want to destroy healthcare? From what I've heard, he was actually at one point or so trying to get rid of healthcare as well.
I haven't heard him say that.
Don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm just passing down information. I think I've heard something like that. But yeah, and I'm not in the mood to really go research it. So if anyone anyone knows about that, they can surely post the information on that to me. But here's the thing: I know that especially Biden, he's not really for the Afro-American community. I mean, here's the thing: Trump has done more to the immigrant community negatively than us. I mean, my current life hasn't been affected like that. You know what I mean? But to me, it's like the things that are affected, it's like both candidates can do, and both candidates want to do.
Papa. Okay.
But to me, voting is a waste of time. They're all playing us. We've had 50-something presidents, and we're still talking the same old bullcrap. Actions speak louder than words. If you ask me, the whole voting system is a waste. They're all playing us.
So, what do you think about the proposition? Like, let's say, for instance, Proposition 21, where they want to keep people in their homes and not have the landlords raise the rent however they want. Like, what do you think about Proposition 21?
Well, it sounds good, but here's the thing. Are they going to follow it? How often do these politicians practice what they preach?
Not too many of them.
A lot of lip service. We love lip service.
Yeah, but I want to see action. That's the thing I want to see. Because people are in a state of emergency. People are in a state of emergency right now where people are out of work. There's no income coming in. There's a lot of unemployment fraud going on. So
there's a couple people been caught stealing a couple mil.
Yes. And now unemployment is tracking these people. So, and a lot of people are losing out on their money because, well, this is just in California. So right now, everybody's card is on freeze. They can't get money. So what is going to happen is people are going to riot. They're going to destroy towns because they're frustrated. They're frustrated that They are going broke. They don't have a job. There's no income coming in. There's going to be a lot of robbery and a lot of killings going on. So I haven't heard any candidate state that what they're going to do to, help improve the economy. What is the plan? How are you going to get people back into work since we're on lockdown? Because Governor Newsom, I don't trust his ass for nothing. I'm really pissed off with him
There's
because
no plan. It's all a game. There was. Here's the thing, because if there was a plan, it would have been done years ago. Here's the thing: some of these things that are going on, if this system actually cared about the people, right, the majority of this stuff wouldn't even be an issue, right? Let's just say if they're going to lock down businesses, lock down people's lives on this massive scale, right? And here's the thing: if they cared, then they would completely forgive everything. Make sure everyone who has a business is okay. Everyone who has who is paying rent is completely forgiven, and compensate them for their job.
Right.
If they lose their job, then if they actually cared about the people, with all that money that they harbor and spend on these lavish, desserts and lavish vehicles and lavish trips. If they truly cared about the people, then they would actually make sure the people are completely taken care of and get them back up on their feet.
Brother Bakari just made a point. He said, "Nobody can fix us but us."
Exactly. But here's the issue. Yeah, he's exactly right. Here's the issue, though. We are too damn dependent on the system. The very same system that causes atrocities, the same system we take all of our learning from. That's an issue.
Right.
How many times do people actually stand up and question? So let's just start at school.
Right.
How often do we fact check things? When a teacher sits up there, or when a news meter or whatnot sits up there, right, and tells us something, right? How often do we actually go back to the source where it all began?
That's why I tell people to do their research.
But we don't. We just take mess and run with it. And we're running ourselves straight into the mud, the muddy muck, and gonna drown in it. And it's our fault. It's collectively our fault. We think just because it doesn't affect us right away, that it won't affect us. And that's foolishness.
It is.
It's like, just because other places are crumbling, don't mean that your part of the cookie is going to eventually crumble.
Exactly.
We only care when this mess affects us directly. But by then it's too late. A lot of us never try to stop this mess before it gets to us. Because we're ignorant. We're like, oh, the world's a big place. There's no way that that's going to happen to us. It's happening way over there.
Right. There is a lot of people that let me tell you, Louis, people been dependent on this government ever since the United States became the United States.
It never was a state. It's a corporation. Not the same difference. That's what people don't realize. This is not an actual state. It's a corporation. It's like, here's the thing. We have all these small states, right, with borders, right?
Right.
Even the laws are different. Even the federal law and the state law aren't on the same page. And so how is that united?
Right.
There was never a United States. Largely, too, especially Afro-American people, don't know who the heck they are. We don't accept everything. We don't. Here's the thing, right? If we're supposedly 13% of the population, right? And think about it. How the hell, if we're such a small part of the population in numbers, like they like to push, right? How is it It doesn't make any sense, okay? If we're 50-something% of the crime rate, mathematically, that don't make sense. That's not including the people who work, right?
Right.
You see, they don't add up that, right? Or the people homeless and then do nothing, right? They don't do any crime, right? They don't add that stuff up. But we don't think about this stuff because we're programmed to just obey. And then we get into our emotions. We are actually some of the most emotional people, and they play off that.
Oh yeah, we are some of the most emotional people on this planet because we don't know how to control our emotions because we're so focused on, you know, what, like, oh, if the next cop is going to shoot me, you know, or when my next dollar is going to come. You know, it's just all based off emotion, and they play on that.
They feed off of racial division and race. Here's the thing: one thing they don't want is the people waking up and saying enough is enough.
Right.
That's what they don't want.
And that's what you know, so-called Black people are doing. We're starting. This is the first step, was the vaccine, because they want us off this land so bad. They're trying to kill whatever indigenous people that was already here, but it's not happening fast enough. We're being born more than we are dying. They're saying that we're dying more, but we're really not.
I'm going to say this. I know this is this topic, okay, but it's still all connected because I guarantee this political system always has something to do with it. One way or another. Just think of a trail, right? A mountain, right? With thousands and thousands of trails. They start from a different point, but they all lead to the same hillside. This is the situation we're dealing with. This mess is the political system. Is this particular one is here to waste people's time.
Right.
It's here to play off of emotions. We get all rah-rahed up for this and angry about that. But then by the time we figure out it's a lie, they load up another chaotic scene, so we forget about this one. If people stop and go look at the history of these things, they keep loading up. I call it the bullets of chaos.
Right.
They'll load up once we don't even get a chance to recover from one horrific scene before the media is putting out another tragedy. So now our attention is on that one, and you see what I mean, right? It gets stacked up and stacked up, so we keep forgetting about the previous ones.
Exactly.
Collectively, that's what the system's about. It's to overwhelm the people with chaotic scenes and keep them coming. And while your house is in disarray, isn't it much easier for people to come in and steal something if the family's always fighting, right?
Right.
Let's just say you have a person who's masquerading as a friend, right?
Yeah.
If literally everyone is fighting and throwing stuff at people, how easy would it be for that person to sneak off with your wallet on the table without you knowing?
That's true. You're absolutely right. Like, people, like, Black people, we need to be paying attention on what we are doing, because they're like, when they know they see us when we're vulnerable, they will use that against us just to be elected. And once they are elected, what, like, you know, okay, so where is your promise that you're going to do this and that you want to do that? It, like, there was no promise. I hear you. There was no promise on the table. They just want to get your vote so that they can get elected.
Exactly. Because here's the thing, okay, Obama didn't do wasn't really too bad towards our people like that, right? But here's the thing, what actually did he do besides what it's called Medicare for Obamacare, which you have to pay out of pocket for? I forget what are the things he did. Like,
besides healthcare, approved gay marriages.
okay, that has nothing to do with me.
That has nothing to do with me either.
What else?
I'm trying to think what else he tried to do for black people. Besides, getting elected. You need to stop. I'm trying to think of something else that he did for black people, but I really can't, think of one because I really haven't seen it.
Tell you what, exclusively for us, what did he do? Versus exclusively for other ethnicities. Who did he give reparations to?
Oh, man. Man, don't tell me. Man, don't tell me. Oh, man.
He didn't get any reparations.
Huh?
He didn't give reparations.
Yeah, but didn't he do something for the Jewish community?
But the Jewish community been getting reparations, did they?
Yeah, they already had. There was nothing new that was entered into law. What you're talking about the treaty that was lifted that he gave the access. Okay, yeah, that was more so with land, and that was Israel. That wasn't something that was done with repaying people of Jewish descent here in America.
Of course,
the most aggressive policy making that Obama made was definitely for the LGBT community. What Obama did was he aligned LGBT policies with a Black agenda. And to me, that has been the most detrimental and the most insulting thing to do to Black people, was to make it as though to make our issues and concerns synonymous with people that have chosen to live a lifestyle. Insulting. I'm back on mute.
Well, from what I know, I heard that Obama gave, money to the homeless shelters for, people to get resources, but only one that I know was the one down the street. They closed that down because they were embezzling the money.
Oh yeah, no, it happens all the time. Here's the thing: it's all big game. They gotta look good on world stage. They don't have to keep it. They don't, as long as they look good, they put on a fake ass image on world stage. Then you know what I mean. Then that's all that matters to them. As long as they can keep up a fake facade, I don't give a damn who you are. Here's the thing: actions speak louder than words. Especially our people have a hard time gauging actions because actions tell it all. Actions tell who you are. Like this, right? In a critical time, let's say I love you, right? I say I love you, right? But I turn around and I'm always harming you. Right? I'm always beating your butt. I'm always stealing from you, right? Or let's say I say I got your back, right? I'm your homeboy and vice versa. This scenario, right? I say when this goes down, and we both know it's going to go down, I got your back, right? But then when it goes down, not only do I not got your back, right? I actually go, like by action, I'm speaking of action, I actually go stab you in the back and take all your crap and join them. But I said I got your back. It's the same type of difference.
Yeah. I just want to show this primary election that happened yesterday. Let me see the first. Okay,
hey,
so
I'm gonna skip out for a while. For a bit, I gotta go help one of my friends.
Oh, okay.
Hey, yeah. Unfortunately, due to what's going on, with this whole YouTube's out of control. These bastards are out of control. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand. It's understandable.
You can seriously even go look, and they have videos of celebrities, YouTube celebrities coming out and actually criticizing and bashing YouTube on their treatment of the
or created a petition you know,
certain
like
individuals. It's not really the platform; it's more of the admins, the people who are monitoring this stuff because they're out of control. Sorry, go ahead.
past company. So what people we shouldn't have done, we should have put in a petition out there, you know, stopping YouTube from, you know, getting in affairs with the content creators, because seriously, what we do in our videos is none of their concern unless there are what there is going.
Yep, exactly. And to further add to that and whatnot, and here's the issue, right? A lot of these, you know, this going on, right? If you ask, if you person and all the protesting, right? If you personally ask me, I would say that I'll go straight to the policymakers' door to go and destroy stuff. You know, it's like the thing is, people need to cut this mess out. Yeah, I know a great deal of people marching through the streets have good intentions. Okay, I know that. But it would be better to go and go straight to these politicians that have the ability to change things and strike a conversation with them. Now, to me, it's like that's that. And here's the thing: we always use bronze over brains, and that's not smart. The reason why we're losing is because they're using brains.
Here's the thing. This country was supposed to be for the people, but their whole plan was to control the people because the people are not educated.
Yeah.
Especially the younger generation.
Yes, this is more of an intellectual war. As I always like to say, manipulating is articulating. To successfully manipulate, you got to know how to articulate. We are being mentally manipulated.
And people are just just falling for it, and they're not doing their research. Because I did my research on all the propositions that, you know, I went for, what I was for and what I was for against. So it's always important to do your research.
Exactly, it is important for people to do their research. And my thing is, we need to put our money where our mouth is, and we need to practice what we preach and whatnot too. If we tell our kids, and if we tell our inner circle people that actions speak louder than words, it should be the same exact thing for these politicians. Look at their actions. Compare it to the years they've been talking this nonsense, right? Because nonsense, and see if the actions are adequate enough. Biden had 47 years in political power in general.
Right.
What has he physically pushed for and succeeded in? And here's the thing: how many of these politicians?
I was just telling people about the crime bill that he passed decades ago.
And did you see the video? They got a 5-minute video of. Watch the full video of him talking of his Senate speech. It was what 19? Was it 93 or something? Watch the full video, and then what you do is you look at the dates of these videos, right? Notice the media hasn't even touched that. The media won't touch that with 100-foot pole. Okay. And then if you look at him and Kamala when they were running for the seats back only a couple years ago, and look at them now. How is that? Kamala Harris said, "Oh, Biden's a pedophile. You know, Biden's this, Biden's that." I truly believe that he's this and he's that. Right. And she was adamant about it. But now look, complete hypocrisy.
Very hypocritical. Very hypocritical.
Sure, Trump is by no means a good individual. Well, for the system, I don't care for him either. I don't care for any politician. I never was excited about Obama or any of them. I don't do the site that you pick a site and that's a bunch of bullcrap. The only sides that I pick is good and evil, good versus evil, right? Those are the true sites to pick. Good versus evil, right versus wrong, truth versus false, or what is it? Facts versus fiction or something, That's really what it is. Authenticity versus fake or whatever. I'm working on it. I'm working on a little one, little saying. So yeah. So there's let's just say versus falsehood. Authenticity versus falsehood or something. You guys can.
Right. I get what you're saying, because a lot of people, when it's during this election, now it's not just Black people basing their feelings off emotion. It's everybody now, because a lot of people, is going down on lockdown again, and a lot of people are getting very, very, very frustrated that they can't go back to work.
To be truly honest, it's collectively the people's fault. Because collectively we let all this mess happen. The large issue is that there's little to no transparency on these things. When they talk, it's like we all know about the history about the biological warfare that the governments of various places and degrees used right now, from all the way from Agent Orange, right, to the Tuskegee experiment, right, to the experiment that they did on human beings, even to advance the medical science, right? So it's like my thing, knowing it's strange, the people knowing the history of this system. Right. And they could trust it so much without questioning. That's the issue.
We don't question stuff no more.
We never really did like that. I mean, back then, yeah. That's why there was a lot of uprisings.
Now, hopefully that people will wake up, because, they're talking about, opening up things next summer, but who knows? They might, go on this, people are so, desperate, and, and they're being controlled. Let's let them know that we won't open up the business until, 2022.
By next summer, most of us is going to be selling stuff out of our tents.
Hey, you're not lying. So it's because they want that to happen, Louis. You see, in California, they already got they're almost, the middle class is almost dying out here. What they're trying to do is make it a rich and poor state, so the haves and the have-nots.
You know what the irony is?
What?
The irony is that the so-called the haves, right? Literally gets their power for taking care of that so-called have-nots. That is the irony about this whole thing. It's like imagine you always hitting your heart, aka pump, right? Because you don't like the way it beats.
Yes.
It's a main component, one of the main components to keep you alive.
Exactly.
It's sad, but it's my thing is, it's not just Trump's fault. It's collectively everyone's fault, because here's my thing, right? Here's the thing. I can't blame just him for everything. Not even, because how many people are following along with orders? Right? That's the issue. If someone tells you to jump off a building, are you going to do it? Just because, let's just say
Too many followers. Too many followers.
I'm just saying, yep, I'm just saying though. It's like if people don't want to harm people, right, then you're not going to harm them. If you seriously are not okay with something, you ain't going to do it.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That is so
if all
true.
these immigrant kids are being put in cages and being treated like that and whatnot, who are the individuals doing it? And then the ones who are complaining about it, what are we collectively doing? Of course, individually people are doing stuff, but sometimes, an individual cannot build a skyscraper.
That's true, but did you also know that? Did you also know that the children that was kept in those cages? Do you know that the government cannot find their parents? They can't find them.
That because they don't want to. They never cared.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's the thing. If you seriously never cared about something, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like your system's going to be crappy. If they truly cared about these parents and kids being united, this would never have happened. They would already had, had systems in place. Oh, if this kid gets lost, look at the school system, right? In case of emergencies, what do they have to do, right? They didn't give any way or any marker of the parents to be contacted, right?
Yeah.
There's a way, but they don't. But the system, it wasn't meant that way because the people who are running these things, they don't care. They only say they care because, well, you got to keep up the act.
Right.
I don't trust any of them. I look at actions.
Me too.
It's like
action speaks louder than words.
Mm-hmm. And here's my thing, right? It's like one thing is, we also have we still have that nasty victim mentality.
I'm
not talking about that we aren't victims. I'm saying we have that mentality. Why are we asking everyone to do things for us all the time? It's like why? It's like that's like collectively. You know what I mean? Here's the issue, right? If a system is harming you, right, and you're gonna go sit there and complain to that very same system that's doing the issue. Here's my thing, right? It's because we're divided. It's because we're broken. Like in general, and we're on this racial bull mess, which they want us on.
Yeah.
Right? But then, because when an individual, dark melanated individual retaliates, right? We can broadcast it on the news to the world and say, "Oh, look how bad and nasty these people were. See, I told you so."
Lewis, I want you to see the presidential debate. I'm not going to show it that long, but I just want to know what you.
That thing was crazy, man. I saw a little bit of it. It's
but I like this is crazy. Hold on a second. Like I'm gonna fast forward some of it because it's kind of long. Points of what they're talking about. But since it's buffering, what do you think of COVID himself?
Here
it is. Hold that thought.
But took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed They shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably people. I said, you got to run it so well. I said, you got to run it so well. And I just had a meeting with them. The problem is, no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive. Premiums are too high. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir. I have to give you. Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out he has executive order power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a healthcare plan. He got elected. He has like almost everything else. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right. I have one final question for you,
sure,
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett. There has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact, it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democrats in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take in that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now. Make sure you, in fact, let people know. I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that
because
question?
The question is,
Justice radical left on your list, Joe. Who's on your list?
All right, gentlemen. We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They should.
40 seconds.
The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject. So let's try to be serious about it. We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal. For both of you is, based on what you have said so far and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck. 200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5% or 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths, 40,000 people a day. That, 1,000 people there dying. When he was presented with that number, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape, has acknowledged he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic people. You don't panic. He panicked. And what did he do? He went in, we were insisting that the Chinese, be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out back in March exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
So if
Wait,
we would have listened to
You have 2 minutes, sir.
if we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000. And one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. By the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died. They don't exactly straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
It says 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked well. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. Tell you, Joe, could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that.
I know how to do the job.
I know how to do the job. How to get the job.
Well, you didn't do get the job.
Well, you didn't do.
Oh, your piece.
The issue, right?
Mhm.
First of all, if the COVID can continue its a failure, then our health government has failed. The medical industry has failed. That is a failure upon our health government, the CDC, etc. Because here's the thing, I'm pretty damn sure Trump ain't no damn medical professional. He ain't sitting up there in a lab, right? It's not his responsibility to sit up there and create preventive measures for COVID or these diseases and whatnot, right? And I'm pretty damn sure if the health officials say we gotta do something, right, and they get up and do it, right, it's like, wait a minute, it's like, I'm pretty damn sure on that basis, Trump ain't gonna have the authority or the proper authorization to stop it, right?
Exactly. But did you hear, what Trump said about the doctor, telling him that he should not be on a campaign train when he's out there spreading COVID? Did you hear him call him he called him a name? Omega Cordy, do you remember that? I don't know if she's there.
Yeah, no, she's here. And here's another issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're talking. They're both of them are bickering.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't remember a name that was called particularly. I can do a search for it. I can do a search for it though.
Yeah, because he called him a dumb something. Donald Trump is a mess, dude. I swear to God. It's like he discredited him or something.
And here's another issue, though, too, right? They're talking about, how everyone's losing their jobs and whatnot, right? Both of them, right? But notice how no one touched on the subject of that. Okay, so what is a lockdown doing to this, to the people, right? If businesses aren't making money, right? How is a business going to stay afloat? And then, if you cannot make money, how are you going to pay your rent, right? And then, if you cannot, if you have no income, what do you lose, right? You're following the connection, right? Here's the issue: it's the lockdowns is what's dealing the main blow is the lockdowns with no net, with no forgiveness. They're not forgiving the debts. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not providing, both of them, no one is providing adequate amount of money, right? Here's the thing, if you're going to take someo's business away, right, because you declare this lockdown and whatnot, right? Then then it's your responsibility as government to basically to provide that. Here's my issue: it's just not one side; it's all of them. It's both the so-called Democrats and the so-called Republicans. You know, that's the issue. What is it's like at the end of the day, if this mess goes out of control, and this mess blows up and whatnot, right? You know, like the whole financial system and whatnot, right? You think this is really going to bother the politicians in general like that? Many people going homeless and whatnot, right? How is like all these politicians going when they get off of work, right? At the end of the day, where are they sleeping? Just saying. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the politicians are eating better than us. I'll tell you that. They're eating way better than us.
And then again, like I typed quickly in the chat room, is that here's the issue. 2 minutes ain't enough time to adequately answer anything. I'm sorry. It's not. Here's the thing. These debates in general, how it's set up as a freaking joke. 2 minutes ain't enough time to adequately answer these questions. It shouldn't be how fast you can get a freaking question out. It should be how accurately. It's a game. It's all a freaking game. It's not built for the truth. It's basically to hide the truth. If you actually think about it, it's favoritism. Because even if you look, right, okay, don't get me wrong, I don't like any of them, okay? But if you look, right, Trump was asking a question, right? And then what did they do? They interrupted him, right? And then they just moved on to Biden's question. And here's the thing, time it, right? Go back, watch these things, right? Have a timer. Set it for 2 minutes and see if both people got 2 minutes. Bet you they didn't. I bet you the time wasn't equal.
No, it wasn't. Because it looks like the guy cut Trump off like, that's it. On to the next.
And then that's when you notice he started going off the rails. Haven't you noticed that? When he got cut off, then I could hear him say, it's almost like I could hear him say F it in his voice.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I don't like any of them, but I also don't like assholes either. The moderator is an asshole too.
I would like to see them go up there and, and get challenged.
Oh, yeah, it's like the moderator's an asshole.
Yeah.
And it's like they have favoritism, and it's not cool.
Oh, yeah, because, I'll probably look for that one with the woman of color. Forget that asshole, because she has...
They're calling anyone color now.
Yeah.
If you look back, here's my issue, right? Everyone is like, we don't do tribes. Here's the thing, the original thing is tribes. You need to know what freaking tribe you're from.
Right.
There's this incident where this guy over in Africa, right? This so-called African American dude, right? Went to Africa. He was getting a job, right?
Right.
He put down. He was like something, right? And his ass got locked up and sued because they're saying he he's impersonating. He's false. He's trying to assume a culture, right? And so the only way his ass is going to get out of that is if he knows what tribe he's from. We need to know our tribe. We need to know our exact tribe. Government knows. That's why they're doing this crap to us. We need to know exactly. I ain't talking about what we think. You know, because
Right.
that's where I'm still a little bit on that as well too. But I'm actually making movements to learn. I talked to a couple of my apparently relatives. Yeah, it's interesting. They live right around the corner from me. I had no idea. And it's looking like we have freaking indigenous blood.
We
American
do.
indigenous
Most
blood.
Black people do, and we don't even realize it.
Mhm.
You know,
So-
but that's just another debate.
because I've never trusted them to me. I am. But
Mhm.
it's ridiculous. We all need to actually go and get these original records. Because
Right.
that's what this. You don't want to accept it or whatnot. We need to know who the hell we are. Because behind your title has power.
Right.
Behind your tribe, tribe and whatnot has power. They
All
don't
right.
have.
Yeah, but here, this is the one I want to get to, but it's just that a lot of indigenous people, they don't have power over what they want anymore. We're just conquered people.
Yeah, and that's our fault.
Mhm. We were just
The
too
fact that we
nice.
know that it's collectively our fault.
Or is that
Collectively have failed. Individually, people are fighting. So if you're fighting, this doesn't apply to you. But we all fell on a collective.
Mhm.
On a collective, because this it's like building a skyscraper. This is with everything, right?
Right.
Not one person can build a skyscraper.
Right.
No matter how hard and how much work that person put into, that person will not build a skyscraper.
Mhm.
It takes everybody. This
That's
must
true.
takes everybody's collaborative and collective work. We need to look at actions. If we're going to deal with race and whatnot, we need to look at individual actions.
Here, this is the debate that I want to get into with the woman of color. So I want to get into.
Courtney said priorities are off. And
Yeah, they are. Conditioning is up.
Way off.
Whoa.
Separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've zero tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. Borders we've ever had.
Do you have a plan to reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question.
500 plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. They got separated from their parents. And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark, but I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least person.
He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. He started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists, ban Muslims. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board. He says about the poor boys. Last time we were on stage here, he said, I told them to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy is a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform, Obama and Joe didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to twist to get that done, it was not a pretty picture.
Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away?
I've already done something that nobody thought was possible. Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune to pay for insurance. I terminated it. It's gone. Now it's in court. No good. Pre-existing conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better healthcare, much better, will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful healthcare.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option, become Biden care. The public option is an option that says that if you, in fact, do not have the wherewithal to be, if you qualify for Medicaid and you do not have the wherewithal in your state to get Medicaid, you automatically enroll, providing insurance companies. That's what's going to happen. Secondly, we're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce the prices by ensuring that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drugs with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why I did not a single person with private insurance.
How can voters know that you don't have any foreign contracts?
I have many, and they're all listed, and they're, I mean, I'm doing business. Bank I'm referring to, which is, everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's what it was. It was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he then decided to run for president after that. That was before. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
He says that people are learning to die with it.
We closed up the greatest economy in the world.
Okay, Louis, go ahead. What you think about that?
To be honest, I wasn't quite into it like that because, again, it's the media's bias, okay? But when I thought about that bit and whatnot, when Trump said he wasn't racist, I disagree. But when he said he's done more for the Afro-American community, the thing is, I haven't really looked into what he's done. What has he done? That's what it comes down to. If someone makes a claim that they've done something, they've done more for others. And what should happen is you should be able to see.
Well, I definitely rally off some
But you can't prove
policies
it.
how it works.
in place.
You can't prove it because he has done
When
nothing.
he says that the
Well,
unemployment
Yeah,
has been the lowest that it has been for African Americans.
I can't afford that crap. No one on regular income
He also
ain't gonna be able to
affords
afford Obamacare like that.
historically Black
Exactly.
colleges and
So I'm
universities,
gonna pin your
which is
message.
that
And
no
that's
other,
super right
no other
about that.
president,
Yeah.
including
Trump. Crazy.
so we have to be
Here's the
very,
thing. What is exclusive?
we have to be very aware of the policies.
Afro-American.
Yeah.
Nothing that any of these politicians done is exclusive. I was told oh, he did Obamacare, and I turned around, I looked at her like, it's crazy, and I was like, that's not for us. Second of all, I was like, I can't pay for that crap. Medicare for Medicare and Medicaid it's better.
Mhm.
You know, it's actually you virtually pay nothing. Well, you know.
Omega Courtney, what do you think? I want to hear your opinions about, what we just heard.
What do I think in regards to which question about policies that Trump has put forward?
We were trying to answer.
I'm sorry, did you say policies that he's put forward?
Hold on, let me see.
I can't hear you.
One second. Hey, let me get off mute. Okay, sorry, girl. I have my cell phone mute on my computer. Go ahead.
What was the question?
What do you think about what was just said on their debate?
Well, I agree. I think that again, I have had to become. Listen, when I was served as a council member on the Coconut Grove Council in Miami, Florida, I was the youngest of 9. I was one of only 3 African Americans that sat on that dais, sat on the panel. So that means that even though I personally was representing Black women, Black young women, Black mothers, absolutely no one else on that panel was representing that same thing. So I've had to become a little bit more aware and a little bit more intentional with not killing messengers, but looking at messages, okay? And when you take away who did them. Like there was this, and I'm going to link it as well, and I hope that, I can get this pinned also, Diamond. But there was about 2 months ago, it went viral. It was a post that lists policies, and you had to guess which president put them in place. I'm not talking about which president announced them. I'm talking about which president put them in place. And of course, this post went around, and people thought it was Obama or it was Clinton. And guess what? It was Trump. It was Trump. You know what he reminds me of? Let me qualify my statements in saying this too. All right, let me back it up.
Please find post. That would be an epic post.
Yeah, I'm gonna share the post. I'll go back and find it because it was over in my other phone. Because like I said, this phone is my business phone. The other phone is social media phone. I'll go and I'll share it. I'll find it and I'll post the link in the room. But this is the thing. This reminds me of the kid in school that because he knows that he's going to be lacking, he finds himself making friends with some very, unusual kind of making alliances and allegiances with some very unusual, unsuspecting people. Because people like Donald Trump, let's just be very honest and very, very, let's be very honest and very specific, right? People like Donald Trump genuinely don't get, they don't get great. They're not the popular kid in school. They're not. They're not the most liked people in school. They're not the most. They're not the most appealing. So when you take away all those layers and you take away all those things that they aren't, what you find is that what he has, or what he probably, how he probably relates, is being that person that's kind of the outcast, that's kind of that kind of, needs the approval, or needs to kind of be a part of something that is not necessarily something that may be his interest, but may be something that, hey, I don't really understand what the big deal about it is anyway. Because I think that that's what honestly went into play when he did the type of support that he has for historically Black colleges or universities. And of course, I'm an alum of a historically Black college or university, one of the biggest Black colleges and universities being Florida A&M University. And I know that when Clinton and Hillary were in office, when Clinton was in office, I would say Clinton and Hillary because they're such a team. When they were in office, I know that they came to the campus, and I know that they visited, but I know that endowment was nothing near to what Donald Trump has pledged and what he has been able to do through making an invested interest. It's one thing to make a statement. It's one thing to give an endowment. It's another thing to make an invested interest in not only the support of historically Black colleges or universities, but saving Black colleges or historically Black colleges or universities, because that requires a different type of commitment than saying we're going to come and just cut a one-time check of $10,000. And quite honestly, when the Clintons came to the campus, it was the year after FAMU was voted Time School of the Year, with the headline on the cover being Shake, Rattle, and Enroll. They came to the campus, they made a great speech, and how were they celebrated, or what was the celebration? What was the commitment? The eternal flame. The eternal flame that sits in our courtyard was something that, they supported. And so when you think about that and you think about the grand scheme of things, that's almost like getting a brick in a walk of fame, or getting your picture in a hall of fame, as opposed to building and investing in the campus infrastructure or in the economic support, whether they got the enrollments or not. That's two totally different things. And that's what Trump has done for a number of HBCUs. And so I can personally speak to that. Now, the other policies that were listed on there were definitely with the pardons, with the crime, with not the crime reform, but with bills that made a sentencing lighter for, and who would have thought that Trump would have been lighter sentences when this man, let's talk about it, single-handedly took out billboards calling for the arrest of the Central Park Five for the conviction of them. But again, look at Saul. Let's go back to biblical, y'all. Saul killed men, women, and children.
Mm-hmm.
He killed men, women, and children in the name of, hey, protecting his boss, which was not Jesus Christ. But when he was awakened, what did it say? His eyes, they elicited scales. It was like his blindness came off, and he promised, he made a sworn statement that he would kill no more. And he became Christ's one of his most cherished disciples and defendants. So when I say, I know that this may feel like it's a reach for some people, but I know what it means to say, hey, the word can confound anyone, and God can use anyone. And I think that it's high time, as I said before, that we stop looking at the messenger and look at the message. Because with us doing that, we will stop holding on to anger, holding on to resentment, holding on to negativity, hanging on to toxicity, and we'll start grabbing blessings. But we've got to let go of the negative to grab that positive. And there has been a lot of positive policies that have come because Trump was in office. And maybe it is him being guilty. Don't get me wrong, and don't even get me started on that platinum plan, because no other president, whether he's using opportunity zones, whether he's using community development block grants or not, no other president has ever initiated this type of plan. Very progressive. Very progressive. So absolutely, we've got to start looking at this as playing checkers and not chess. I'm sorry, chess and not checkers. And we've got to start looking at how we've been strategizing over since we got the right to vote. Since we got the right to vote, we are at the lowest amount of home ownership we've been in ever.
What about in the 90s? Because I was a child in the 90s, so I heard that homes were so much more easier to buy than
to buy. Listen, home ownership is at the lowest it has been since the year before we got the right to vote. And these are just facts. Like I said, these are just facts. These are not something that I want you to just think one way or the other. I am not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat either, but I'm not a Republican either. But what I do have is an invested interest in looking beyond the person to look at policies. Because for a long time in my life, I got burned that way. Looking at the people and not looking at, hey, where they're coming from and what they're representing and what are some of the things that they value. I really have let go of a couple of opportunities that absolutely could have been life-changing. But I always say that God, everything happens in a due season, in due time, for due reason. And so I'm not going to look back in regret or look back in anger, as Oasis would say, one of my favorite bands. But I do encourage us all, when we talk about is voting worth it, I encourage us all to know that yes, it is. But what is most important is what we're voting for. So
exactly.
That's my thoughts.
And here's my thing, right? I look again, me. I look at more of the outcome of things, right? I like to tally up things compared to the amount of time, especially when it comes to political things, right? I look at how long something's been worked on for, right? And then I look at the seriousness, this touted, right? The seriousness, right? That's touted, right? So they say we care deeply about this subject and whatnot, right? Then you look at each subject. I'm just talking in general, right? No matter what it may be, right? And normally someone who works diligently, let's just say, how long would it take to actually, if everyone cared about the subject, right? How long would it take to actually do prison reform? Right? Or how long would it actually take to actually build, build so-called housing and whatnot? Right? Here's the thing: I don't think free handouts is a good thing, but I do believe every life should be valued enough to where especially people who want to work and people who want to do things, especially them. Right, because and that can do things, they should be given the chance to do so. That's not even there. None of that stuff is there. As a matter of fact, the people who are wanting to do things and who are doing things is losing. Right? Look at what happened to our veterans. Well, that's looking at historically the Harlem Hellfighters. Have you heard of them? The Harlem Hellfighters?
No.
They were one of the most the Harlem Hellfighters. They were two people from Harlem, right? Afro-American squadron from Harlem went to freaking France, right? they defended, basically they did one of the most heroic acts, right? They defended, I forgot which area it was, from an onslaught of enemy attack. They got high military honors, came back, they were treated like crap here, right? They got nothing. Same with the Tuskegee Airmen, right? The Tuskegee Airmen, which are, ironically, there's an Indian class that they don't talk about called the Tuskegee Indians. Right? Literally, Tuskegee Indians, no joking you, no shitting you. Go type that mess in on Google. They tell you, oh, we don't know about them. They know about them. They just, you just don't have that. Okay? It's all about money. Okay?
Yeah, everything is about money. But people who are controlling the money are being greedy, because at this state that we're in right now, nobody should be poor at all. Everybody should have like equal opportunity to become wealthy. But but they have these mindset that we want to be better than everybody else. Let's just make a class from the rich and the poor, and let's step on the poor people's neck so they can feel like they're helpless and they will depend on us. If everybody in this country was wealthy, we wouldn't have welfare. We wouldn't have food banks and whatnot. Everybody would have their own.
And to further blow a hole in the whole, and to add to your, to your case of no one should be poor, look at all the crap that's thrown out. If you go online, right, here's the thing, people. Research how much brand new clothing is thrown out, how many brand new cars are just left on desert fields. Look at research how much food is thrown out. Look at all the material that's thrown out. I've been doing an avid researcher on this. I'm a huge fan of art and fashion and whatnot, et cetera, and history. And there is so much food, so much electronics, doesn't matter if it's new or old, being thrown out, never used. That alone is no excuse for people to go hungry, for people to go without clothing, et cetera, et cetera. I have friends who worked at GameStop as supervisors and managers. They said they are ordered. If they don't sell products, right, doesn't matter if they're in a package or not, they're ordered to break them and throw them away. And in your new vehicle, if it's not sold by a certain date, they put it on a big ass field that they bought to sit there and rot and break down in the sun. Doesn't matter what type of vehicle it is. John Oliver did a great video on food waste. Apparently, we alone in America throw out about 700 plus football fields worth of food a year.
And don't give it to the homeless.
Exactly. There is no excuse. This even voids money.
Here's the thing. I was just talking about this not too long on my live stream, and I was saying, if these restaurants like the Cheese Factory, McDonald's, Applebee's, all these other restaurants, if they were give these foods away for charity for the homeless to get fed, they will be doing a great service to the community, because they are a part of the community. But just throwing away food, and not giving it out to, the shelters, that's selfish.
It's a collective. This is a collective failure. Here's the issue, and all we're used to doing, especially us, is pointing the finger. Here's the thing. Everyone who's sitting here pointing the finger, right? What have we collectively done about this? I'm not talking about the individuals who are trying to get things done, okay? If this applies to you, if you're trying to get things done, then I ain't talking to you.
Yeah.
This doesn't apply to you. This applies to all the people who haven't started the conversation. That is the first step. And this is also why the media and the school systems hide this stuff. Here's the thing: it's very easy to hide information when all the citizens draw their knowledge from your freaking system. In America, what is the main system it's drawn the knowledge from? Right? The so-called school system, the education system, right? And if they lie and we only take from them, eventually we lie.
Exactly.
And we've been taught too lazy. We become lazy. We don't pull from we don't do our own research. We don't even talk to our elders. You ever wonder why your elders, especially Afro-American people, wonder why your elders, or like other channels has asked this, Cormeu, Dane Calloway, all of them, they've asked it. You ever wondered why your elders, or even Lex Will too, he's like, have you ever wondered why Wanagi and American Indian Council, sorry, names are popping in my head, you ever wonder why our grandparents sit there mysteriously or not? You know what I mean? They'll be sitting in a chair all quiet. They'll be like quietest in the room.
Nah,
Yeah, well, that's our issue. We haven't wondered that. The thing is, should ask, because what you're seeing literally a library sitting there. It's potentially worth more than these school systems.
Right. I get what you're saying.
And we've been taught, this is the thing, it's like, who really educates your kids? Who really trains your kids? Who spends the most time with your kids? I think Dane Calloway and a couple other people asked this question. I'm just saying this mess wasn't for me. Is it from me? Is it us, or is it the system that has the majority of our kids' lives? Who's really raising our kids? One of these YouTubers has asked. Look at where our time is going. While we're always at work, right? Where are the kids? At school, right? Yeah, when we go to college, right? You come home, right? The kids come home from school. The mom and dad gets back. So actually, who's really forming and shaping the kids?
The TV.
The TV, the school system.
I think it's mostly the TV, because the TV, nowadays has a big influence. Like YouTube, kids can really get their hands on, certain videos if they're not, too, inappropriate. But they'll probably look at videos like, Cardi B, WAP, or or Meg the Stallions, music videos there. You see, this is what I talk about. I blame the parents at this time, because the parents should be the one educating their children, letting them know what's going on in the real world. Instead of why are we allowing celebrities to influence our children? Those celebrities were not made, or content, like their videos were not made for children. They were made for adults.
But then here's another thing, right? I'll take it even a step further and say, not only are we collectively to blame for not regulating this system, it is the system ultimately that everyone learns from. And where our blame comes in is us not collectively saying enough is enough. We need to change things for the better. Yeah, that's where our blame fits in. This YouTube, all these inappropriate things comes from Hollywood. One of the most infuriating ones was Cuties. When I saw that, have you seen that? Have you seen the dances those little kids were doing?
Oh, you are you talking about that Netflix movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody was talking about that.
How are you gonna have kids in that type of skimpy outfit bumping butts like that? That ain't no. That's like those are like pure stripper.
Well,
Stripper dances.
Netflix, they shouldn't have thought about that before they even put that, on their stream, because that seeing like 11-year-old girls twerking and all that stuff, that's just, sexualizing children.
Oh no, they thought about it. They
Mhm.
thought so much they came up with an excuse that backfired. No, they knew exactly what they were doing. One of them got busted. One of their actors got busted for child pornography.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I forgot which Netflix star it was, but he's a black dude or Afro, whatever he is, got busted with child pornography on his phone.
Uh-oh.
Here's the thing: you don't think these politicians are doing stuff behind closed doors? What are they doing? All of these people, what are they doing out of public eye? No one likes to talk about that. I don't hear that.
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear that? Right?
Mm-mm.
I bet Hillary.
You see, that's something new, because they only, for what I know, they only talk about the movie being inappropriate, but not the actors, that do these Netflix series.
Mm-hmm. Like, what do all these powerful people do behind closed doors? When they're not showing up periodically in the public and world's eye, what are they doing? What are they talking about? This is just food for literal thought. What are they doing? What are they saying?
Mm-hmm.
What are they watching? When they're behind in these labs and whatnot, what are they doing? For all you know, coronavirus could just be a bioweapon.
Mm-hmm.
It
could to just die off to keep to die off the population. That's why they're not talking about it that much.
And because there's no transparency, we don't know what the heck they're doing. This could have very well been a bioweapon. But because there's no transparency, you don't know, right? I mean, looking at the history of biowarfare, the U.S. government in history multiple times has tested things on a population, on the American population.
Right.
If you don't believe that, then you're stupid. I'm sorry, you're just stupid. You have too much trust in a fellow and man that you do not know, strangers. We put too much trust in giving too much power to absolute strangers.
Exactly.
And we don't communicate with each other, right?
No, we don't.
So if they claim something happened here, the people there that are speaking out against it saying, the rest of the people don't hear, because, and the word don't get around like it used to, because now we're all broken and fighting.
Yeah.
And we don't talk to each other.
And not only that, we're like, people don't have common sense anymore. Many people are saying that, there are Republicans and, and this and that. But these people that's saying they are Republicans, they don't even know what's going on in the debates. They don't understand. Well, policies is being set. They're not doing their research of what their candidate is doing.
None of them are.
What they're claiming to be, I'm a Republican. I'm this and that. I'm like, okay, so as a Republican, what is the goal that you want your party to set? No one can give an answer. It's just like, a lot of, there's a lot of talk, but no answers. Who is that? Oh, it's on Maker
Exactly.
Kidding.
The both parties do lip service.
Yeah.
It's like what, like the exactly Democrats too, right?
Mhm.
The Republicans and Democrats. Here's the thing: I'm not a side picker. I'm a result. I'm all for results, right? I'm like, okay, what have you done? Doesn't matter if you're Trump. Doesn't matter if you're Biden. Doesn't matter who the heck you are. What have you done? That's all that
Mhm.
matters. People need to stop looking at sides, like Courtney said as well. You said, and look at freaking actions. Look at results. Like,
Mhm.
what have you done? Put up your work. Put up your publicly verified accomplishments. Let's see your accomplishments. You said you're going to do this. Well, did you do it? You said you've done this. Well, did you do it? You said you put up time in this, and you did this for this. Well, show those records. Right?
Yeah.
Show all the time you clocked in. Right?
Mhm.
It should be able to show. If you've said you've done something for the community, that you will be able to find it in the community.
People need to have their receipts together.
Mm-hmm. But we should be fact checking it, and we don't. We're the ones that are trying to appeal to.
Yeah, people say, "Oh, this president did more than that president for the black community." Where is it? Why are we still in shambles? Why is the black community is still looking for answers about the shooting being dealt with police brutality? Like, why are we still having financial problems? Why don't we put money back into the YMCA for our kids? Like, why don't we have jobs in our community? Like, we're just doing dumb stuff that we don't even realize that we're doing.
I was actually learning that we're like one of the highest grossing ethnicities. But the issue is, all the money goes out and none come back in.
Uh-huh.
We don't support our own local businesses
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. There's like the reason why Black Wall Street was Black Wall Street, which actually they found more mass graves today. And in the Wall Street, you know what I mean, from Black Wall Street. And guess what? There was Wall Streets, not Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was rich towns, not town.
Mm-hmm.
That they left out. There was a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe your freaking history books because they're by the aggressor, and get into those damn archives. That's where all that mess is at.
Mm-hmm.
Go into the damn archives.
But I heard some important news about the Wall Street, but I kind of missed it because they said that they had some like important updates about it, but I didn't know there was more people killed than.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna post that link as well too. I'm going to grab it now. But it was done. It was posted by. They found more mass graves. In the the link and / news came out in the afternoon. So sorry, give me a chance, and yeah, I'm gonna find it. So go ahead.
Well, what you
I'm gonna pull up the link and I'm gonna put it in chat. I can't even click on my own links. It sucks. I could still do if we get trolls or something, it'll allow me to remove all those, but I can't click on links. I can't enter the chat. Yeah, YouTube's tripping.
Yeah, that's true. They are tripping, and I don't know why. Because I think that what it is that YouTube cannot handle intelligent people that wants to tells the truth about certain entities, and they want to block them. But they're getting worse. It's not. They're almost doing it to everybody. It's strange. But about the elections, when it comes November 3rd, you guys are, just be aware and prepared for, the changes that are about to come, because there are going to be a lot of changes, and there's going to be, a lot of rules during this pandemic, because a lot of these politicians are not coming up with a quick plan to get us out and get us back working again. Because I don't know if this is happening in your state, but people in my state are really getting frustrated. Everything has skyrocketed in California, and people are, losing everything. Is going to close down again, and people are losing their jobs, and they're getting frustrated. So whether or not, whether people are gonna, get their jobs back, this country is not going to be the same because of the pandemic. There's nothing being done. It's just that, we got into the purple interior, we have to shut down places again, but they're not, and they're talking about a vaccine, but they are not talking about, what can we do to, get, people back up and working. What will be the social distancing? They're talking about closing down things again. There's no solutions going on here.
There's,
Go ahead, Lewis.
sorry, no, go ahead, continue, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Here's the thing. This is all planned. Okay, here's the thing. I was like learning about debt, right? About how the like the ceiling, the balloon works, right? I was like, the board. Here's the thing. Money in itself, it's easy to prove. Money in itself has no value. We put the value on money.
We discussed that before. Yeah.
And I think they deleted that stream, didn't they? Isn't that the one they YouTube took off?
Yeah.
When I said if money, if it costs money to make money, where the heck do they get the money?
Right.
If it costs money to make money, if those materials to make the money is more valuable than the money in a piece of paper itself, where are they getting this money?
Exactly.
How are they paying for this money?
Because gold got to back up money. If you don't have gold backing up the money, then the system, it has no value to it.
And guess what? We're stacking up on debt because the materials. We ain't paying for the materials. We are getting stuff. It's like if you kept racking up your credit card, eventually, what's going to happen?
We owe a lot of debt to China.
That's why they're able to do all this stuff that they're doing. And what's happening is, I don't know if, to be honest, I don't know if it's a good thing. I'm not going to comment on ultimately whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, because to be honest, I don't know. But Trump is messing with the whole China, right? Trying to break away from China, right?
Right.
Here's the thing: we've borrowed so much from China. Because China basically, we actually have no money. We don't have money to pay it back.
Right.
We are not getting out of this debt.
And we can't do a gold rush anymore because all the money and all the gold in California is dried up. There's no more gold in California. That's been long gone.
So the only hope is to okay, I found the link too. The only hope literally is to get break away from the debt, and that's what they're trying to do. That's why they're trying to go to a cashless society and whatnot, because we ain't getting out of this debt. It's impossible to get away from this debt. We have no actual goal to do so.
Right.
So the only way to actually get out of this debt is to basically, without getting harmed, is to find a way to wiggle out of this system. Because it's going to go. Have you ever wondered why they cheer when they are able to raise, like the spending debt? You know what I mean? How did you know people are like, oh, I think, is it every 2 years or something? How many years do they have to raise the spending ceiling? Haven't you noticed that?
Nope.
I've always wondered why people are so on edge. Like these Wall Street oligarchs and stuff. Why is it so intense? You could literally see them sitting in their chairs or standing biting their nails. What is going to happen if they're not able to raise the spending debt? If everything's just gonna go boom and that's it? That's what it seems like. Like everything's gonna just crumble.
It seems like it.
Like a recession we ain't getting out of. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we're not getting out of this anytime soon.
Like the utter fall of Rome. If it's gonna be like that, but even worse. Even Rome survived. They just split up. It's like this whole system is like done. That's what it seems like. If they cannot raise you know what I mean? If they cannot raise the spending debt, what happens? The ceiling. What's going to happen? I'm curious. If we cross that road, or rather, when we cross that road, what's going to happen? So politics is just it's just a leech-sucking business. It's funny, it has ticks in it, right?
Right.
It's a leech-sucking business. And they're on the world stage. We're looking at actors to distract us. As we're being distracted, things are crumbling around us. People are taking stuff from underneath our noses. We're being swindled left and right. Every time we get a phone, right? They pay they like an iPhone. It originally cost maybe about $5, $10, maybe 20, maybe even 75. They turn around and sell it for triple digits, 1,000 plus. Come on, you can't tell me that's not highway robbery.
Man,
it's funny. We get mad. We're even in our daily dealings with each other. We're hypocrites too. Yeah. We'll get mad at our family member for shortchanging us to the point we will shoot them. But when corporate individuals completely rob us, we're okay with it. What the actual F? We're hypocrites and don't even know it.
We're major hypocrites. But I'm gonna stop the live stream here. Thank you, Louis, for being a guest on my panel. I am sorry that you couldn't make it through on the panel. I hope everything works out with you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I have been shaking up a lot of stuff. And I haven't kept my mouth shut.
I hope you keep moving, because there's other platforms out there that probably it's probably not as bad as YouTube. And I also like to thank Omega Courtney for coming on my panel. Thank you, sis. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll be keeping in contact. But if there's any last words you want to say, Louis?
Yes. Do your own research. Here's the thing. If you know you have the truth, if you believe you have the truth, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be confident in testing it. It's like learn history. Look outside of these school systems, outside of these media systems, because unfortunately we're dealing with a system where power comes from knowledge. And knowledge comes from history, especially Afro-Americans who are labeled Black and African-American. Learn what tribe you're from, not from those tube texts, but from historical records. Ask your parents, no matter what it is, make sure you get the primary source, make sure you use logical reasoning. Because truth is not always a tangible, it's not always gonna be put in front of you by people with credentials. Actually, most times it's not. It could be truth could be as simple as you asking a question.
Right.
And these so-called scholars and whatnot not being able to answer, not being able to provide you a question,
right,
answer back. If you are on your craft, then you should be able to provide answers.
Exactly.
So there's a couple YouTubers I've been watching. One is American Indian Council. Another one is Dane Calloway. Another one is Lex Will. Who else? Carameo. Here's the thing: take the meat and spit out the bones, whatever you do.
Oh, thank you so much, Lewis. And I want to thank anybody that has joined my panel or enjoyed the live stream. Thank you so much for listening. Go out and vote, because this has something to do with your life. You really don't have to vote for a presidential candidate, but please vote locally. Okay? So like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.
Make sure you know what you're voting for too.
Mm-hmm.